Good morning, pals. Welcome back to 100 Miles, 100 Days on a $100 Treadmill. I'm Tanya. That's my fat cat, Jim. And today we're going to walk a mile. We're going to talk about I took some video of wait times during the Sweethearts night the other night. So we'll talk about some of that Sweethearts night and what that looked like. And we'll look again at where I've gotten on those Haunted Mansion ears. And there goes Jim. So let's take a walk. All right, pals, you ready to get the countdown started? Come on, everybody, here we go. And let's ramp it up. Got cat hair on me. That's weird. Happens on a daily basis. Everything's covered in cat hair. But that's what comes with living with cats. Day 51. So crazy. We are finally on the downhill slope of this thing, right? I mean, it's still another 50 days of doing this, but you know, feels good to be like we've hit that pinnacle and we're starting down the other side of the Matterhorn. I wanted to talk to you about a little bit about the first Sweethearts night that opened on the 22nd. And what I did is I ended up doing some screen recording. Like I talked to you guys about that, I think about a week ago or so, that I should just be recording my screen. I don't have to be on camera with you guys. I could be recording the screen on my phone and add them into the video. I don't have to do them kind of live with you guys. And so my thought was, with Sweethearts Night going on and having talked to you about how the wait times looked a lot lighter in the parks that day, why they looked lighter. And so I thought, well, I'll just go ahead and do some screen recordings throughout the evening so that you can see what wait times look like at 10 o'clock at night, at 11 o'clock at night, at midnight, because that was the Sweethearts night lasts until 1 o'clock in the morning. So, you know, what do ride times look like at that last hour? Have people gone home and gone to bed? And so I'll show you those screen recordings and tell you a little bit about that. And it was very light. So I was doing this in conjunction with watching someone do a live stream from there that night. And it was really interesting to look at what he was filming and then to be able to look at my phone and see if what I was seeing as wait times on the app was really coinciding with like how many people are actually in the park. And it really did seem to match up pretty well. So I have a bit of confidence in my ability to kind of look overall at wait times at Disneyland and on the app and really kind of translate that into, is the park busy or not? Okay, so it is 9:57. And this is what wait times looked like for Sweethearts Night, the first Sweethearts Night. Everything is full on walk on. So if you want to crush rides, these kind of things are the time to do it. There's stuff that's closed, but we'll check again. They're open until 1 o'clock in the morning. So we'll look again closer to midnight and see what's happening. But that's pretty awesome. So just so you know what wait times look like in real time on nights like these sold out special ticketed events. Okay, it's just after midnight on the first of the Sweethearts Nights at Disney. And there's still an hour left to go. And everything is a walk-on at this point. There's all kinds of other stuff going on, like shows and karaoke nights, and there's a jazz band on the Mark Twain. I mean, there's lots of stuff to be doing other than going on rides. But when everything's a walk-on, you know, why not take advantage? So that's what that looks like. Space Mountain is 15 minutes. That is the kind of time where you're getting on, you're riding, you're running around to the beginning and starting over again. So there you go. So what Sweethearts Night is special nights through January and February that are, it's basically geared towards couples. And so Chris and I were watching some of this live stream, and immediately I was just like, oh, we need to do that next year. Because it was like there were just people walking around, couples just walking around holding hands. You could see that there were groups of friends, and just you bring the person that you love. And I realize that Disneyland is for kids, but it's also for adults. And one of the things that I did notice right away was there were very few children at Sweethearts Night. And that's probably because it's geared more toward couples. And it's kind of, I think when they launched it, it was supposed to be that was the impetus for it, was like, here's a date night. You can leave your kids at home and you can go on a date night at Disneyland. And I mean, there were still kids there, you could see on the live stream, but the amount of adults compared to the amount of children was noticeable. So some of the special things that they do is they have special shows, they have special cavalcades, and a cavalcade, I know I've talked about them before, but it's what a cavalcade is something that is basically a truncated parade. So it is, instead of being something that is, 16 to 17 minutes long, is about 5 or 6. And there's maybe 3 floats and some dancers in between each float. And the one that they're doing for Sweethearts Night is specific to Sweethearts Night. So it's not a cavalcade you're going to see during a regular hours at Disney. So it's specifically like Hearts and Flowers and Mickey and Minnie as a couple and Donald and Daisy as a couple and you know, princesses with their princes. And I gotta tell you, the cute like Valentine sweaters that Donald and Mickey have are just, they're like the sweetest boyfriends. And so that was really fun to watch. And then they've got, like, there's a singing show that they do in front of the castle, and some projection stuff that they do on the castle. And then another cool thing that they did, or that they do, are doing for this one, is that you can, they've turned the Mark Twain into a jazz club. So there's like a 3-piece jazz band and a singer. And I think the singer is the same singer that is the head singer for Five and Dime. She's just fantastic. And so you get on the Mark Twain. The jazz ensemble is at the prow of the boat, and they're performing while you go around the rivers of America. So it's just this cool, like, what a great idea. Turn the Mark Twain into a moving jazz club. That's just how fun. And then they also had things like karaoke at the Golden Horseshoe. You could get up on the stage at the Golden Horseshoe and sing. And I just kept thinking, oh my gosh, if my bestie and I were there, and how better to fulfill your dreams of singing in Disneyland than just be able to get up on the stage at the Golden Horseshoe and sing karaoke. And then you have that story for the rest of your life. You don't ever have to tell them, like, it was karaoke night at Disneyland and I sang in Disney. The story only ever has to be, I sang at Disney one time. So there were those kind of things going on. And then I just kept, as I was watching, I looked at the wait times at like 10, 11, and midnight. And they just stayed consistently at walk-on time frames. So, you know, the rides that you would expect people to be at, like Indiana Jones and Space Mountain and the Matterhorn, had some lines. But even those were, I think I saw Big Thunder Mountain at 10 minutes and Matterhorn was like at 20, and they were probably the kind of numbers that were just, like we've talked about, where they're numbers that are just kind of plugged in as, yeah, it's going to take you about 20 minutes to get through the line at the Matterhorn, rather than actually having a calculated time. But yeah, so that was pretty interesting. And I think that's about all I have to say about that. So on that note, let's go ahead and take a look at where we're at with those Haunted Mansioneers. Okay, pals, we're back at it again. Let's go ahead and give a little bit of an idea of how we're going to fit these in, because the wire is only going to go so far. So probably about every other flower is where they're going to fit in. But I have to figure out what to do with the battery pack and where that's going to kind of be able to hide itself and be usable at the same time. So I may have to come at this from the other direction to begin with, to kind of hide it in there. So let's see what we come up with here. I'm going to remove some more of these flowers and see what we have to work with. Just doing this very gently right now because I do not want to burn or melt any of the fabric that the flowers are made out of. So it looks like they might not only be glued on, they might be sewn on as well. The headband is actually quite stretchy. So I really want to be careful and not do anything that's going to melt that fabric, because that kind of stretchy polyester kind of stuff will melt if given half a chance. And yeah, it looks like we have a little bit of a sewn down part here, so we'll just keep working at it. And then you can see that it's got a little bit of a, it's tacked on there with a little piece of thread. All right, so I'm just going to keep removing each of these flowers so that we've got even more to work with. And we'll come back in a moment and see what that looks like. I gotta give kudos to whoever designed these ears, because there are some like very, very much like function following form on these ears. There's some thick kind of foamy fabric pieces here that are stabilizing the ears, and that's like to me, that's like they started out and they went, I think that we really like these ears, but they're floppy, so we need this. And then that needs flowers to cover it up, and then that needs this to cover it up. So it's just, to me, it just looks like an idea that kept getting built on. And whoever did actually build these ears, they're well made. I'm impressed. It is funny with hot glue and heat guns that over the years you start to get kind of a crafter's sixth sense of when you should be, of how hot you can get your fingers without burning them. Or even just kind of how to deal with the heat that comes from hot glue. I do use like silicone finger protectors when I'm working with really hot glue, but I don't tend to use things like that when I'm doing this kind of work, because it's important for me to know how hot the material is getting, because I don't want to accidentally melt fabric. So a big part of doing these kind of things is learning how the different kind of fabric reacts under heat, how much you have to pull on some glue to get it to release. Doesn't mean I get it right all the time, but I definitely find that going slower and taking your time while you're doing this kind of thing is going to get you better results in the end. It's hard not to get frustrated when things don't just heat up and pull off. But it's part of the process that I enjoy. Because then it's just so satisfying when that flower finally pulls free. All right, well, that's what we have to work with at the moment. And we'll go ahead and come back and get these finished up tomorrow. All right, there it is, 1 mile. Congratulations, pals. Good job today, pals. Thanks for coming along again on 100 miles, 100 days on a $100 treadmill. I'm Tanya. This is my backyard. And there's my ears. It's a little bit windy and a little bit chilly, so I'm gonna head back inside and we'll see you back here tomorrow. Bye, pals. Okay, so I just recorded, I don't even know how many minutes to nothing. So, take 2. What was I trying to say?